Whether you operate one forklift or thousands, one location or hundreds, the new My Toyota customer portal can help you optimize your operation and material handling equipment. This one-stop, free-to-use platform is designed to help you take control of your information and make smarter decisions, all at the touch of a button. Register and access your data today at my.toyotaforklift.com. That's my.toyotaforklift.com.
Hi, I'm Ilan Cohen, CEO of Caja Robotics. We'd like to share with you an aspect related to safety regarding workload associated with manual picking in a warehouse. Manual picking leads to intensive, difficult tasks, including 12 miles per day walking, lifting up and down heavy box during the entire day. Having AMR solution as Caja will allocate robots for those tasks and people to elevate position more adequate to human being. Robots in a sterile environmental not only increase the throughput, but also had safety element not sharing same space among robot and people.
Fulfillment demand continues to skyrocket and outpace available labor. To keep up, warehouse operators are turning to flexible fulfillment solutions like 6 River Systems. Utilizing 6 River Systems' award-winning combination of collaborative robots, artificial intelligence, and operational expertise will make your associates and wall-to-wall fulfillment workflow more efficient. No new infrastructure, no change to warehouse layout, easy to deploy and scale, easy to train and retain associates, all at half the cost of traditional automation. Want to take your fulfillment operation to the next level? Go to www.6river.com to learn more. That's www.6river.com to learn more.
The New Warehouse Podcast, hosted by Kevin Lawton, is your source for insights and ideas from the distribution, transportation, and logistics industry. A new episode every Monday morning brings you the latest from industry experts and thought leaders. And now, here's Kevin.
Hey, it's Kevin Lawton with the New Warehouse Podcast, bringing you a new episode today. On today's episode, I am going to be joined by 2 guests. I'm going to have Dr. Ilan Cohen, who is the chairman and CEO at Caja Robotics, and I'm also going to have Hannah Yanovsky, who is the Chief Revenue Officer and General Manager at Caja Robotics. So we're going to talk a little bit about what is Caja Robotics and what makes them unique and kind of how their solution works, and then also talk a little bit about a recent partnership that they have done in Israel as well. So Ilan and Hannah, welcome to the show. How are you?
Thank you very much. Very well.
Yes, good to have you both on. We're both going to have a joint discussion here. So why don't you guys tell us about Caja Robotics and what it is you guys do? I'm not sure who wants to answer, but up to you guys. Maybe you both want to tell us from your own words.
Lady first, Hannah, can you start with?
Yes, sure. Caja Robotics is a company who develops and manufacture and supply a proprietary solution for automatic warehouses based upon a unique software and robots, 2 types of robots that we developed by ourselves, which allows a very dynamic and flexible solution for the customer to adapt to the needs of the customers and not vice versa. This is really in a nutshell. Of course, we need to dive into the technology to understand the differentiation and the strength of this solution compared to other solutions in the market. And the fact that we are working in such a dynamic market and evolving market requires also our solution to be very much dynamic, scalable, and flexible to address the needs of the customer. And this is, I think, one of the strengths of our solution.
Okay, very interesting. And Ilan, do you have anything to add to that, or would you say pretty much the same?
I will add a few words only. As I say, I think we are now in really a booming market where the customer need is growing exponential, and we at Caja really live in real time what's happening in the world. Everywhere in the world, any corner, any warehouse need to go to automation. and trying to be objective, we believe that the solution at Caja that is simple for deploy, very fast in order to provide the best performance. And we believe that we have something unique, as Hannah said, and we hope that Caja will continue to grow and maybe to become one of the leaders of the AMR solution in the world.
Okay, very, very great. And you guys are based in Israel, correct?
Yes, our headquarters are in Israel, but we do have also a subsidiary in the US, and also employees, and not just in the Israel, but also in the US and in Europe.
Okay, great. Yeah, and I think I saw that you guys have a implementation somewhere close by me in New Jersey as well, in the United States. So definitely international company. I'm curious now, what is sometimes on the show, I've talked to some people about some of the differences between automation and robotics versus North America versus Europe and Asia, and other parts of the world. So I'm curious, what is the automation and robotics market like in Israel?
In Israel, the robotic market is the last 4 years is taking a sort of jump compared to other countries because robotics in general, as you see, Europe, Japan, China, United States were really the leader in robotics. Israel were more oriented for telecommunication and other high-tech company, mainly software-oriented company, cyber security company. But now the later, let's say, 3 to 4 years, Israel also become much more focused on automation and specific on robotics as well.
I would like to add that Israel is a small company and the real estate is very expensive in Israel. The demand for real estate is very high, so the warehouses needs to be very efficient. The output and the throughput, the optimization in the warehouse is very important. And we see it in Israel and in other countries where the real estate is very expensive also. But it's also one differentiation in Israel compared maybe to other countries where the real estate is not as such expensive as in Israel.
That's very interesting, yeah, because here, there's a lot of there's a lot of land to build on. So, there's a lot of farmland and things of that nature. So, I mean, in Israel, is the trend more to be looking at existing structures and trying to, convert them into warehousing distribution, or are they still building new warehouses as well?
With the customer that we have in Israel, we see the trend to revert existing warehouse to automation. It's called brownfield,
right,
compared to greenfield new warehouses. And usually the customer would like to exploit the existing warehouse and not build a new one because of what I just indicated.
Yeah.
But I want to add another element which is not just relevant for Israel, because we see today that e-com and logistics become closer to the cities due to the 1-hour delivery or same-day delivery. Even in countries where there is a lot of land, the warehouses are in the middle of the metropolis sometimes. So also in other countries like in the US, also the need is to be very efficient in the warehouse and to be very optimize the warehouse. Sometimes it's micro-fulfillment, small warehouse, where also the solution needs to be very ROI attractive. So it's another element needs to be considered.
Yeah, very interesting. It's interesting to hear, how operations work and what the trends are throughout the world, because obviously there's different situations everywhere. As you mentioned, Israel is tight on real estate, and real estate is very expensive. But all over the world as well, there's multiple automation solutions and multiple robotic solutions, as we mentioned before. So I'm curious about Caja and what makes Caja's solution unique from some of the other robotics solutions that are on the market.
If I may answer, we'll start at least, and Hannah, please add anything that you believe that I forgot. I think that there are two aspects that we see. I think the uniqueness comes from First of all, the technology. The technology is a cloud technology with a lot of artificial intelligence algorithm, where we can, in one place in the cloud, doing nearly all the elements to manage the warehouse from the G2P view. That means we have the inventory management done by Caja, we have the traffic management done by Caja, we have the optimization done by Caja. At the end, what we want from a warehouse, automatic warehouse, is to take how much maximum unit from the warehouse in the with minimum time and with minimum robots. And the combination of Caja technology, where our focus is in the software with, I think, also clever robots, provide us really to provide the solution for the customer to take out maximum unit and deliver and address all the order line and all the order for the warehouse received every time in real time. And our solution is really trying to manage the optimization of the way that where we put the boxes, how the robot will manage to run in the warehouse to do minimum distance and to bring maximum goods to the picking station in order to take out maximum element. And that is from the technology point of view. But other aspect is fast deployment, flexibility, scalability, and that Hannah, if you can elaborate a little bit about these three, adaptation as well, then we will have the full description about our solution.
I think we have two layers of freedom to offer the customer. First layer is that we have a building blocks in our solution. We have two types of robots, two types of picking station, and software that manage the brain of everything, that manage everything, and also have different application and different abilities. And when we have a customer, first we understand the needs of the customer, and then we address the best solution for such customer. So our solution for a specific customer will not look as the same as the other solution for a different customer. So to some extent, it's like a tailor-made solution, and this is one degree of freedom that we offer. The second degree of freedom that we offer is that since the warehouse, we look almost as if it's a manual warehouse and with no need to change and invest a lot of new infrastructure. Everything is very operating with the existing infrastructure. It allows the customer later on to change the layout of our solution, to adapt it to the changing needs, because we know that once a customer implements an automation, also in terms of the ROI, the investment, and how to operate it, it's something that will stay in the warehouse for the next few years. And since our customers does not have a real knowledge how they warehouse and what will be the demand for the next 4 or 5 years, the type of customers that we are dealing with, they also need a solution that will allow them the flexibility and the freedom to adapt later on to the changing needs. So we can change the aisles, we can change the combination of the robots, we can add more robots very easily. It's like adding, just bringing another robot. We can change the way of the picking station. We can make it more dense. We can make it more spread. We can even start in a small space and scale it later on and not do the entire warehouse in one day. So all of these elements and more elements allows very a solution which is not like something that you need to define today and live with it for the next 5 or 6 or 7 years going forward.
The three elements that I can, if I may add something, the three elements is really scalability, because people want something that can scale. They can also address the peak time, like Black Friday and Cyber Monday. Yeah. They want also from year to year to address the growth of the company, especially in the e-commerce. That means you need to address the change with the customer and you need to provide a solution very simple to deploy and provide the best performance. And the performance is something that everybody are looking for, to take out the maximum order or to address maximum order. but also to have a very attractive ROI and to have it a fast solution in a matter of months, that you have a existing warehouse where you are working manually and you want in a few months to put some robots to do minimum changes and to have already running in order to have the result that you expect.
Yeah, very interesting. And I think, there's a lot of couple of different layers there that you mentioned. And I think one of the biggest ones that stands out to me is the ability to implement and utilize the existing infrastructure, as you mentioned, I think there, Hannah. And, especially as you go back to what you talked about in Israel situation as well, where, you're looking at kind of a brownfield setup, that's really important as well. And I think that for smaller companies everywhere, being able to utilize existing infrastructure but bringing in an automation solution is a real bonus. How does that work exactly, that you're able to utilize the same infrastructure? When you say utilize the same infrastructure, I'm thinking you're talking about being able to still have the same racking and shelving and things of that nature in place, and the robot's able to operate around that and pick from those types of locations. Is that correct?
That's correct. That means
Yes.
we do a small change in the shelf itself. We're using the shelf as is. We add some adapter because our robot needs something to identify as part of our system. Except that we use the same structure. We don't change the floor. You can have pillar in the middle of the warehouse, and the only thing we need is to have a map of the existing warehouse, to put the robot and the software in the cloud. And it seems like a simple way, but that's what we provide. We put software, we put robot on existing warehouse, and we add the picking station, and that's it.
Sounds very easy, but I think that's really, really the key is to make it easy, because a lot of times I think big implementations and things of that nature can become a little scary for operations, because it's a lot of involvement and things of that nature. But it sounds like the Caja solution is pretty simple to put in place. And also, yes, I'm guessing that the cost itself is probably not that substantial because of the existing infrastructure that's allowed to be worked with, correct?
Yes, correct. We believe that our ROI is very attractive, as we said, and we think also that the psychological effect is also something that plays a role in a decision which automation to implement, because with our solution, as we said, the warehouse we look as a regular warehouse. This is also allows the customer, if there's a problem, to switch, and we know that every solution has its own problem sometimes, to switch back to manual and work manually, and then switch back to our solution. Everything stays synchronized. We do think that it is important and relevant for our type of customers.
We'll be back after a quick break.
You hear a lot about supply chains these days, because if the past couple years have taught us anything, it's that an efficient, well-managed supply chain is absolutely critical to keeping businesses successful and consumers happy. I'm Will Haywood, and I host a podcast called All Business, No Boundaries, where we talk about supply chains, how they work, what happens when they don't, and the innovations that are redefining what's possible in the world of logistics. Join me for insightful interviews with thought leaders and industry experts. We discuss how optimizing supply chains can break down the barriers that are holding businesses back. That's All Business, No Boundaries by DHL Supply Chain. Listen and subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
We do not compromise in performance. We are working in a sterile environmental. Our solution is not collaborate robot. In order to achieve much higher efficiency and much higher speed of the robot. And for that also, we do want to have the maximum performance with our solution, despite we are running in an existing warehouse.
Interesting. Yeah. I think it sounds like a really great solution. And speaking of, implementation, recently you partnered with Sela Logistics Center in Israel as well. So tell tell us a little bit about that partnership and how the implementation went.
Okay, sure. So Sela Logistics is one of the largest 3PL in Israel, and also deals with the goods of global players, not just local players such as Nike, Adidas, Diesel, etc. And we starting the first projects, one of many others to come. We are already working on 2 projects in parallel, where we are going to we're implementing these days, and also completing the integration between the WMS of Sela and our software. And very soon, within a matter of weeks, we are going to finish the deployment there and start working with our robots in one space of their warehouse. Later on expanding to additional spaces and additional warehouse. They have hundreds of thousands of square meters of warehouses in Israel. So the potential and the plan is really to implement more and more spaces, because, as we said, we can be very scalable of their warehouse and of their goods to allow us to do it with our solution.
They choose to go to automation because it's really a need. They have no choice, really. Because, first of all, to work manually, and now especially with the COVID, people cannot work near to each other. They have some issue to find people. But even before the COVID, they had some issue to find enough workers to work in this very difficult work, let's say, environmental. And then they came to the conclusion they need to go to automation. And we are glad that they choose us in order to extend our solution, hopefully in nearly all the warehouse in the next 2-3 years.
And by the way, we are now in the phases of implementing our solution also to customers in the US.
Okay, interesting. Yeah. I mentioned, I think you guys have one site here somewhere in New Jersey that has your solution as well. I'm curious about the Sela Logistics Center, because you mentioned that you're going to be continuing to expand. You're starting in, I guess, a small area and then expanding throughout the different square meter space that they have. Now, what different functions of the operation and warehousing can the robot support? I think obviously picking, but what else besides just picking orders?
The warehouse is split in three parts in general. One is the palletize and depalletize. We are not there. The other part at the end of the food chain is the packaging, and in between is really to manage the full warehouse from the inbound and up to the picking station. Everything between the inbound up to the picking station, our software and our robot are involved in order to take care about this main part of the warehouse. That means we are involved in the inbound, we are involved in the traffic management, bringing the box to the picking station, how to bring the order, what is the priority, to do consolidation, to do cycle count. We are really involved inside this, the heart of the warehouse, not in the packaging, not in the depalletizing, but in between. Everything is the Caja solution.
Our solution will rearrange the warehouse all the time in accordance with the needs and the optimum manner. The algorithm of the software will anticipate what will be the high runners. Also, we'll see what the orders that are waiting. So all the time, also, the warehouse will be rearranged by our software and our robots to make sure everything is done in the optimum way to allow the best throughput and the best locations for all the boxes, also to consolidate and to make sure the inbound is done very efficiently, as Ilan mentioned.
Very interesting. So it's continuously reslotting the warehouse, it sounds like. So how is it getting the information and the data to do that? That's living within the Caja software, or it's reading that from another system like the warehouse management system or something of that nature?
we use all the time the WMS as an interface to our WCS. Our solution is a WCS and not a WMS.
Okay.
However, we receive the initial input from the WMS about which bin to take and what is inside the bin. But from that moment, everything else in the warehouse is managed by us. Our software doing the management of the boxes, which boxes to bring to the picking station. But at the end, all the information go back to the WMS in order to be totally synchronized in real time.
Interesting. Yeah. I think the rearranging is really important because, as you said, it creates more efficiency and gets the product in a better position for when it's going to be picked and what might be getting picked more than something else as well. So it's really good. It sounds like when you say it really is everything between inbound and the packaging is really covering that whole space, and I think it's a really good way to look at the solution instead of just being able to only compartmentalize like certain functions of the operation, like just have it focus on picking or just have it focus on replenishment, but it sounds like everything in between. So it's a really good thing, and it sounds like you guys have created a really easy to implement and also well thought out process as well, from software all the way to hardware solutions. So I'm curious, with Caja, what does the future of Caja look like?
As I say, I think the trend today about the AMR solution is really the future, according hopefully to be objective. And we believe that our solution, all the added value that we try to provide in this interview, will bring us to be one of the leaders of the AMR worldwide. And we see now that small company, middle-sized company, and big company are really trying to investigate our solution worldwide, including in the United States, Europe, Israel, Japan, and we see already this exponential growth in 2021. Our revenue will grow considerably in 21 compared to 20, and in 22 again a huge growth compared to 21. And this exponential growth hopefully will provide a solution that will be considered as one of the leaders in the AMR solution, especially because our system are using the concept of warehouse 4.0, that is the trend for the future.
I would add also that our mission is to stay and continue to be very innovative and make sure we address the needs of the customers before they become a real needs a minute before, and continue to be dynamic and very much up to date and even before the needs arise.
Yeah, very interesting, and I think that's the way to look at it, because you need to continuously, just as your customer needs to adopt to their customer, you need to adopt to your customers' needs as well, so they can continue to meet the end consumer's demand. And especially as we've seen demand increase, you need to be able to be flexible and be able to work around that. So really happy that you both could join me today to talk about Caja. And I'm curious, I know Caja is the Spanish word for box. So I'm curious, how did you guys come up with the name for that?
Okay. The founder of the company, Guy Glass, named Caja because what you said, because it's a box in Spanish, but right. Also it's in Hebrew, it's a slang. It's a word that has many meanings, like that's the way it is, and that's is, and that's how to do that.
Interesting. So it's kind of a double meaning. I like that.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right, so it's great to talk to you both and learn more about Caja Robotics. Where can people go and the listeners go to find out more information about you?
You can look at our website at cajarobotics.com, and we also in the social medias. We will be more and more in the social medias, and we are going to have webinars and be more also in publications. So I assume we will have more also interviews and more reports about us in the next to come.
Okay, great. And we'll put links to all of that at thenewwarehouse.com as well. So Ilan and Hannah, thank you very much for joining me on the New Warehouse podcast today.
Thank you very much for inviting us.
Thank you very much for having us. It was a real pleasure.
You've been listening to the New Warehouse Podcast with Kevin Lawton. Subscribe and check us out online at thenewwarehouse.com.
Thank you for listening to this episode. If you want more content from the New Warehouse, check out our new video series called All Hands on LinkedIn. Just search for the New Warehouse on LinkedIn and follow along.